All right, Jules Lund.
Yvonne.
Tell us what was the catalyst for creating Tribe Influencer?
Well, it's a cliche, but I was solving a problem that I was having. So there was a lot of brands offering me sponsored collaborations, and I found the emails back and forth and the phone calls absolutely horrendous for an execution that doesn't require one conversation. So I found a tech solution and I've spent 3 years on it.
Very good. All right, so I think the question that most brands would want to ask
Yep.
you is, how can we get the influencers to do what we want?
Well, to be honest, they're actually specialist content creators. They've built tribes because they know exactly what resonates with their audience. So all you want to do is you want advocacy from these influencers. If they love your brand, then they'll celebrate it in their own specific language. It's funny, years ago, brands used to micromanage influencers because they're really nervous about handing over the keys to their brand. But what they've found recently is if they change that unique dialect the influencers created with their audience over thousands of posts, if they change that language, they change a response, which is they'll just hear crickets. So you can ram something through an influencer, but it just won't get engagement. That's what you're paying for. So it's about a collaboration.
Right, so give them the freedom
Yeah.
to do it their way. So what's something that brands are commonly doing wrong in addition to that? So what is it, something that they...
To be honest, I think brands these days and marketers are quite preoccupied with the distribution of their message as opposed to actually honing in on what that message is. And I think the more inspiring, engaging, interesting and creative that your one-liner or that seed that you're trying to push through the masses, if you focus on that, then you'll inspire the influencer to grab that with ownership, and then that will travel through to your consumers. As opposed to worrying about the techniques of getting it there. I think if they actually just go, hey, this is a really good concept and a great angle for our product, then I think that sort of does most of the work.
Perfect. All right, so give me one example of where you've worked on a collaboration recently that's worked with an influencer and a brand.
Okay, so Sony wanted to promote One Direction album. They put up a brief. Within minutes, a girl sent a post back that was for $2,500. And I was at Sony at the time, and I said, you can't buy that, it's $2,500. It was in the first week. And I came out of the meeting and they said, we bought it. And I said, why? And they said, look at her Instagram feed. So there's a girl who's got 1.5 million followers. All she does is nail art, all right? So she paints her nails, and she painted 1D Made in the AM and put a link to how to download the album. And Sony just couldn't believe for $2,500 that they could reach 1.5 million, such a rich demographic. Like on TV and radio, that would be a scattergun, But here, girls, that love nail art also love One Direction. So it was absolutely perfect. And what was encouraging was that the audience actually liked that, got more engagement than the 2 months of non-sponsored posts leading up to it. So it shows that everyone can win. The brand, the influencer, and the audience as well. It's not a compromise necessarily.
Right, and so that's the message for today at AdTech?
Yeah. Yeah, why not? I mean, any message. You just asked me to say one, Yvonne. Get your hair red. How's that for a message?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.